Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm James.
And this is the Decahedron RPG Podcast.
Hi, James.
Hi, Joseph.
This is episode number 52. And for episode 52, I'm asking you for advice.
What? I don't know if I can handle that.
Actually, I always ask you questions and you always shoot down my ideas. But that's unimportant. Let me tell you my problem. I'm going to give an example, but it's not really about this particular example. It's a general question. The general question is, when do you start a campaign? The specific example I'm going to give is I have this campaign I've been working on. It's called The Warriors of Talfburg. It's about these towns that left an idyllic city, Dunsol, if you care, generations ago, to defend the world against these hellgates. So generation after generation of warriors have been raised here, fighting skirmishes with incursions of demonic entities coming through the hellgates. That's a lot of backstory already, more than I would normally give. Because the ancestors were always worried about the demonic forces being able to get to Dunsol itself, they did not keep any record of where it was. One day, the demonic forces break through. Boom! They get through, they destroy all the towns, and now they are searching for their way back to Dunsol. The characters are warriors, fighters, soldiers that protect the caravan as it searches for its way home. The question is, where do I start that story? Do I start that story before the Great Battle? Do I start the story during the Great Battle? Or do I start the story right after the Great Battle? I have pluses and minuses for all of those. Let me know your thought.
My thought is after the Great Battle, as you're on your trail.
Why?
The reason I like it there, all the backstory, it's behind you. You can pull things out from it. I just find it's a good starting point to have a nice clean slate to work with. If you're still in the battle, you're going to have a lot of things that have to be figured out, I think. That's why I'm going with that answer.
All right. So the problem I have with starting it in the aftermath is that the players lose a sense of immersion. They lose that sense of loss. Where if you start it right before the battle, say a few days before the battle, they don't know it's coming. They get to know the towns. They get to know the setting. They get to know the people. And then the big battle comes and everything is destroyed and the players feel that loss. They see the destruction. They have NPCs that they befriended that are now gone. They have more of an immersion. That is my problem with starting it afterwards.
Where would you normally start? Where would you pick?
So let me go through the pluses and minuses for all three. So I gave you the plus for starting at the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. The minus is you're doing a switcheroo on the players, and I don't think that's fair. You're saying set up a character who's going to live in this town, and this is his day-to-day grind. You know, he's a soldier. He goes out, he fights the demonic forces, he comes home, and then half a session in, a second session in, you just change all that, and you say, no, he's a wandering warrior who goes out on patrols to protect the caravan, who seeks out the next oasis. It's a bait and switch. Oh, you're going to be doing this. No, you're really going to be doing that. And I don't think that's fair to the players. Do you agree with that?
I agree with your idea, but if you were to give them, let's say, some type of a hint that there are going to be major changes, I don't see a problem with that. But with the character creations, yeah, what I'm thinking is they may have to be switched up when you actually go to that second or third session.
You see what I'm saying? It's a bait and switch. You're making the character for this one thing, and then, no, that's not what the campaign is really about. The benefit and problem of starting in the middle of the battle. In the middle of the battle, it's a very exciting beginning. You lose a little bit of that immersion, but you still feel the battle. You still see the destruction in front of you. So you have that immersion. You're going to have that hatred for the demonic forces. It's going to be there. But I think the problem with it, and this is also a problem with starting before, is what's the point of this session? The players come up with a great idea. Hey, we're going to join forces. We're going to go after that Hellgate and we're going to destroy it or whatever. It's already been preordained that this battle is a loss. There's nothing the players can do to make it win. because the whole point of the campaign is the aftermath of the great battle. So if there's no effect that the players can have, if there's nothing they can do to turn the tide, why are you making them play through it? You know what I mean? It's an exercise in futility. What do you think?
I'm agreeing. Your futility, I'm going to say it's a lost cause, and it may, and I don't have the right word for it, make the players wonder, should I be continue playing?
Yeah, I think it would frustrate them. They're going to say, why am I here? Apparently you're just telling me a story. Just sit down and tell me the freaking story then. I mean, if this thing is on rails, let me know. And so that's my problem with starting in the middle. I ever talked about my problem starting at the end. I've done this campaign. I've done it in space. I've done it in fantasy. I've done it before. I've started in all three places. Your initial thought, I agree with, is, at least the next time I'm going to try it, is I'm going to try it right after, in the aftermath. Like I said, you lose a little bit of the immersion, but you're not railroading the characters for that first session or two. The other thing I've done is started them before, but giving them a heads up that this first session is a railroad just to set things up. And if you're honest about that up front, usually the players are okay with that. That's all I had to say about that. Anything else to add, James?
No, I see all three of those avenues. My biggest thing is, if the players know ahead of time, I think it would not be as much of an issue, as long as they know. And they create the right character. Because, like I said, if we do it before and you don't let them know, when they get out on that trail, they're going to have the wrong skill sets for what
Maybe you gave me an idea. Maybe I haven't even thought of this before, but maybe you give them, you definitely have to get their buy-in before you did this. You give them two sets of characters, and the first set is the one for the preamble, and you let those get killed off, or maybe even survive. Doesn't really matter. And then they have a second set of characters that take over afterwards.
It's not a bad idea, but I would go probably do pre-gens for the beginning.
Rather than having them put too much thought into it. Yeah, I like that. And actually, and as I was saying that, I had to get a third thought, which is start it exactly where, like right afterwards in the aftermath with the surviving elder giving her big rallying speech, or his rallying speech, to get everybody to stop. Well, no, to stop them from giving up.
Okay.
To get them to put that next foot forward, and then the next foot after that to just survive. Anyway, given that rousing speech, you start there, you have the characters, and then you do an adventure or two, and then do a flashback adventure.
I've always hated the flashback. I understand where you're going.
What do you hate about a flashback episode?
It's always a railroad, because you already know what's supposed to be at the end of that trail. It just doesn't feel like an adventure that you're choosing. It's more of a set of circumstances that you have to do to meet that end. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I see what you're saying, and I think I have some ideas for ways around it. But like I said, we're running along. That might be a good episode of its own. But yeah, just a real quick, my thought there around it is that the flashback isn't for the battle. It's the flashback is for your life before the battle, your day-to-day, nothing really significant, just like role-playing versus battle stuff. So it's not railroady, it's unresolved issues because the battle kind of changed everything. But anyway, that's my thought. Let's wrap it up. Thanks for joining me, James.
Thank you for the interest and discussion, Joe, and hopefully the audience will like it.
Oh, well, that's with every episode. I hope you like it. And if you, audience, if you have a thought about which way is better, or maybe even some other thought of beginning this style of campaign that I haven't thought of, definitely call in, write in, let us know. All the information is in the outro music. It's probably playing in the background right now. Well, it's not in the music. It's in the outro info that's in the music. But anyway, thanks for listening. And until next week, bye.
Welcome, citizen. This is Friend Computer. I interrupt your mandatory fun podcast time to inform you that your benevolent computer will be giving away a single copy of Through Dungeons Deep, a fantasy gamer's handbook written by Robert Plamondon. That copy will be given to a single loyal citizen commenter. The lucky citizen will be chosen randomly by me, the computer. All loyal citizens are invited to participate. Only a commie mutant traitor would not participate. Are you a commie mutant traitor, citizen? Prove your loyalty by sending in feedback that states what your favorite game book is. All entries must be received by your friend, the computer, prior to June 1st, 2023. While the computer would like it to be a non-rule book, the computer is merciful and will not send you to scrub the algae vats should you pick a rule book. Feedback can be by voice or written. Instructions for leaving feedback are in the show notes, in the end credits, and available online at decahedron.com. The computer is your friend. You must now complete your mandatory fun podcast time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Decahedron RPG Cast. We'd love to hear from you. You can leave us a voice message by calling 562-774-2278. That's 562-RPG-CAST, or by visiting sayhi.chat/decahedron. You can also email us at feedback@decahedron.com. Links are in the show notes. For more information, visit decahedron.com. Remember that Decahedron is spelled with a K. Music is by Kevin MacLeod. Logos by Design Cat. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, keep those dice rolling.